Hello folks, and welcome back. So if you're just joining us, this channel is all about renovating. Basically what we do is buy homes, renovate them, and then we sell them. And so this is our latest project. This is one that we're just getting started on here. If you haven't seen our any of our other videos, we've got quite a few videos that show some of our different projects. And if you just go to our playlist, you'll see them. I'll also put a link to the playlist of our last project down in the description. But this is one that we've just purchased, and we're just going through this right now, getting ready for some electrical certification. We kind of didn't figure to get this far into this project quite yet, but as part of the process of the electrical certification, our electrical inspector is requiring us to do this. So we've decided that this addition is going to come off. So this is a single wide mobile home that we're working in here, and at some point in time this addition was put on, and we're taking this off, and we're just going to go back to the original single wide unit. There's a few reasons that we didn't want to keep this this addition. I always say that these additions are more of a liability than an asset, and this is holding true right here in this one. It's causing problems with our electrical certification. We have to get a silver label on this home because the original CSA label has gone missing from previous renovations. So we have to get what's called a silver label, and so we have gone through that process. We applied for it, we did the work that we thought we had to do, and inspector came and he wasn't happy with this addition here, still here. So basically there was a circuit that was running into this addition that fed this this whole addition on one circuit. And so in the process we removed the circuit, and it was this one right here. So we took it out, we took the home run out. There was a home run coming down here over into the addition, and basically the home run ended up in this plug down here. So we pulled that out. We pulled all the fixtures out. We pulled all the plugs, switches, light fixtures, everything out of here. And he shows up and he says, no, he says, if you're going to demolish this, I want to see it demolished. Well, it's December. We don't want to get into a demolition thing here. We need our silver label. We need it for insurance and other reasons we need it. And so we came to an agreement with him that rather than taking it all down, if you strip the inside of it and remove the wires, he would accept that yeah, we're going to demolish it. So I'm just going to give you a little walkthrough here and kind of show you why we're not going to keep this. Again, last video I said that a lot of people are going to look at this space and they're going to say you should keep it. But I'm going to show you why we're not. And none of this is a surprise to us. We pretty much figured this is what was happening here. So this little area was like a little sunroom. This is a heated space. It's connected to the main unit through this archway here. And yeah, there's numerous problems here. I'm just going to go through them with you. So if we look at, in the last video I said how I hate these little shed roofs, and so this is why. I don't know if you can see this is coming up on the video, but you can just see all the mold that's in here. All right. So here's the insulation. Now this is a heated space. It's connected to the house. Heat was coming out here. They had no vapor barrier. So when you have no vapor barrier, the warm, moist air from the house goes into this space, the ceiling space, and what happens is it hits the cold roof deck. That's the roof decking right there. On top of that is shingles, and you get condensation. And when the condensation sits in there, then you get this mold. So there's two ways to stop that condensation from getting up into that space and causing all these problems. If it gets really bad, you even get rot up in here. So one is use a vapor barrier. Use a proper vapor barrier and seal it, and that keeps that's a barrier to keep the warm, moist air from getting into that space. Now, no matter how hard you try, you're still going to have some moist air get in there. So then that is where our ventilation comes into play, where we want to ventilate that space and get rid of any of that moisture that gets up in there. And so we do that, get that ventilation. I have a video, in my on the channel that kind of explains the ventilation, but this is what happens when you don't have ventilation. So they kind of tried. I have to give them that. They kind of tried. So you can see how they put those 1x4s there and how they spaced it. And what that did was create a space over top of that 2x6. And the theory was that the air would travel through there and sort of circulate up in there. But the problem with that is that you have to have the air has to move through. And in this situation, if you're going to do something like this, then you would have the air would come up through a vented soffit. They do have the vented soffits out there, so the air can come up through that, but it has nowhere to go. So it has to you have to create an airflow that's going to come through here, and then out the top. And you have to do that by installing a roof fence or some way of doing that. So here we don't have anything at the top for the air to to kind of move through from the bottom, move through this space, and then out the top. And the result, as you can see, is this. It's just a mess. Now, also what's happening here is because this roof is quite low pitch, it's probably might be a 2 and 12 barely. It's too low, and they've just put regular shingles on here. There's no ice and water shield, there's no other barrier, and the water backs up. And so we've had leaking in here. The water's been leaking in here, okay, and it's been leaking down this corner, okay, and it's come down here. And you can look at this wall here. All right, okay, that plate is totally rotten. Okay, this is still wet. Okay, on the floor here, this is all wet and rotten. Okay, you can see here on the drywall how this is all puckered, and it's because it's wet. Okay, at some point you can see somebody tried to do a little patch job here. The floor was obviously rotten, and so they cut it out and put in some patches. But I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but you can see there how how like down in here how it's all collapsing because it's rotten. On the other side of this, we have that bank there that again is up against it, and that's not helping either. All right, now something else that we've got going on here is you can see how when they built this, they didn't use new lumber, they salvaged lumber, and that's okay. But you can see what they've done here. They've pieced together this thing here. All right, put what we call a scab on either side of it, to make up the length that they needed to get down to the bottom there. Okay, they did the same thing here. Yeah, numerous places they've done this. Here's another one over here. So that 2x6 does not have its full strength. All right, another thing is on a mobile home, any structures that you add to it have to be self-supporting. And if we look along the top here, you can see where they've lag bolted that 2x6 on there. All right, and then they've hung this off with hangers, the ceiling joists. But that wall, this is the exterior wall of the original unit. This wall is carrying this roof up here. Now, to do this properly, you have to have a beam in there, it's posts or whatever, however you're going to do it. You just can't lag on to that. That's not allowed. That's not code. It never has been. All right, and I'm sure that when we come down here and start taking this floor apart, we're going to see the same thing here. I doubt there's any beam underneath supporting this floor on this side. It's probably just lagged to the mobile home. All right, so we come through here, and this is just a mess. This is just a mess in here. It's just unreal what they did in here. But we've got 2 layers of drywall here, so we got to get all this off. We got to get this all opened up all the way through, just like this, so that this inspector can see this wiring. And so here you can see some wiring that was in here. All right, so he wants to see all this gone. But again, you see how this wire is just stapled to the bottom of those joists? All right, you can't do that. You got to drill through. You need protections from that for that wire, so that if you nail through the bottom or something, it's going to protect the wire. You won't drive a nail through the wire. Okay, same thing up there. See how they've gone with that wire and just went over the top of the joist through that strapping? Well, you come along and you put shingles on that. You have no clue that wire is there, and so you run your 1.25 inch or whatever, 1.5 inch roofing nail through there, and if you hit that wire, you got yourself a short circuit. Okay, so we're gonna get this back all the way back. We gotta get rid of all this drywall, and so here I've taken this off, and you can see how we've got just layer after layer after layer. This is just brutal to take this apart. All right, so we've got, originally we had wainscoting on here. So we've got, what they did was they put this old crap plywood on here underneath, and then they applied this this cedar. It's a V-joint cedar. Okay, so there you can see the old plywood underneath there. Like, it's just a total hack job. And then what they did was they had drywall above it. This is the old Vipsum panels. So you can buy Vipsum. You could. I don't know when this edition was done, but this is a 1984, so it was done sometime in the 80s, I think. So anyway, they had this nice cedar V-joint, and then this Vipsum on top, for the decor. And then at some point in time, somebody came along and wanted to do a renovation on it, and so what they did was they applied another layer of drywall over top of all of this. So I'm having to get through all of this drywall, all these layers, to get down to the studs. And again, I wasn't planning to do this until spring, but kind of being forced to do this so we can get our electrical certification, because again, we really need it. So we come back in here, and what's wrong with this picture? So here they put vapor barrier, but they've used insulation bags as vapor barrier in places. So you can just see what they've done here. That's just an insulation bag. It's not sealed. There's no sealing around here. All of this has to be sealed. Look at all these insulation bags. This is all insulation bags just stapled on there as a vapor barrier. Vapor barrier has to be continuous, folks. You can't have this. Like, this is just not allowed. It's not acceptable. It doesn't work. So here I've taken the drywall off, and that's the original, that's the OSB that's underneath that metal siding. And so, once we get this all cleaned off and stripped back, we'll be putting a technical house wrap on there, a technical paper, and then we're going to be putting vinyl siding on this. But you have to wonder, we're in a major metropolitan area here. We have to take permits and stuff. We've got inspectors coming out of our yin yang around here. You don't get away with anything without a permit. And where was the inspector? I don't know how. Like, when you do this, you have to get an inspection on your insulation vapor barrier before you can cover it. Like, how on earth did anybody get away with this? It's just beyond my comprehension. And how would you do an addition like this and not have a permit, like, so that so that it wasn't inspected? Like, how can you get, like, how can people not notice that you're building this? It's just what goes wrong with the process. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. I wanted to give you an update on that. So we still don't have our silver label. We've been over a month trying to get that done. And now we're having to basically demolish this this addition to convince the inspector that we're not going to try and keep it, and hook the wiring all back up, which is just, I mean, it'd be insanity to do that. Not only would it be illegal, but it would be insane. Another thing he's making us do is we have a gas hot water tank here, old sucker. It's gonna go. And originally was an electric hot water tank, so we're going to put it back. As part of the process, we want to clean this up and make this a nice space in here. And it's just a mess. And so anyway, what we've done. This is the old circuit for the old hot water tank that was originally in the home. And he's not happy with that. He says we have to have the hot water tank installed. So in the midst of all this mess and muck and dirt, we have to get a brand new hot water tank and get it installed so that he'll give us our silver label, which is just, I mean, it's just nuts. But that's the way it is. We've learned, I've been doing this for a long time. I've learned my lessons that you try to get along with the inspectors, because you deal with them time and time again, when we're in, people like us that are doing this kind of stuff. But so anyway, we're hoping in a couple weeks to be ready for him and get him back and get him to have another look. So I'll give you stay tuned. I'll give you another look here once I get a little further along, taking things apart, and we'll see. I kind of think that once I take this ceiling out of here, I'm thinking we're going to kind of see the same problems as we have here, with all this mold and stuff. But if you're looking at buying, and this is not just specific to mobile homes, folks. I've seen this done, seen this problem in houses that I've renovated, where people do slipshod work, and it just, this is the result. So, you can look at these and you might think, oh man, I'm getting a home with an addition, and would you want to live with this? I wouldn't. So our solution to this is to get rid of it. We're not even going to try and save it. The main unit is fine. We don't have those problems in the main unit, because the main unit is, it's original and it's all done. It was all done to CSA standards, and we don't have those problems with that mold. But this, which is done after, this is what happens when things aren't done right. All right, folks, stay tuned. I'll bring you back when I get a little further down the road here. Okay, so I'm a little further along the way here now, and I just want to show you some things that I'm finding. So I've got all the insulation out of this area here, and you can just see, you just see the mold up in here. Here, this is rotten. That roof deck is actually rotten there. If you went up there and stepped on that, I'm sure you'd go right through. But again, unless you know what you're looking at, you look outside and you see, oh yeah, it's got the vented soffits. I don't know if you can see that or not. Those windows are pretty dirty, but the soffits are vented, so yeah, it looks good. But the thing about this is, at the top here, there's no way for air to get out. There's no way for air to create sort of a draw to move through there and dry the space out. All right, now just look at this wiring. I mean, here we have this wire again. I mentioned this on the previous clip, but you see how this wire is just going along here. Again, if a roofing nail comes through there, bam, you're into the wire, and then you've got a short. So that's no good. And take a look at this. We've got there was a wall fixture here. I've already taken the box out. So that wire that you see up there comes through over here, okay, and fed down into this box. So you can see, you know, how close that wire is to this plywood there. You know, it should be coming out in the middle of that wall. All right, and then on this side, I mean, just look at this. I mean, this wire, it comes across here. Okay, then it goes through here, and you know, they pulled it obviously, and there's like, it's got a knot here. But you see, there was drywall screwed right onto here, and, you know, and then the soffits came over here. Soffits came underneath here, that soffit material. You know, so like, you're just taking your chance that a nail isn't going to hit that. Like, you know, here's a little pin here. They had pinned some trim on. I mean, look how close that came to hitting that. There was trim on top of the drywall here. I took it all off. All right. And we have another situation over here where this wire, this wire here, this is a 3-wire, and it went through this space and it went over to a switch that was over there, and it terminates in this box. Okay, so the other end of that wire is in that box, and you know, this was just in here like this. You know, no protection at all. There was no plate on it. There was nothing. You know, what would happen if you drive a nail through that thing? You know, it creates a fire hazard. So, you know, again, getting back to inspectors and permits, I mean, I have no idea how, like, there's no inspector that would have passed that. And you have to have your wiring inspected before you cover it. You know, he'd have seen this stuff running hither, thither, and would have said, no way. So, anyway, stay tuned, folks. All right, folks. Let me get this mask off. And get this mask off, and I'll show you where we're at here. We're going to finish up this video. So, yeah, so you can see how I've got this all stripped out here now. You can see how I've removed all the wires from here. So now when the electrical inspector comes back, he can see that there's no wires in here anymore. And he will be satisfied with that. You know, we've taken all the boxes out. There was a box there. And this is my last wire right here. And you can see how this wire was just snaked along here like this, okay? And that wire went from a switch that was here. It was a 3-way switch back to this light here. So this is the original outside lamp, and it's going to stay there when this is the exterior of the wall, exterior wall of the mobile home. Okay, so you can see there where the original metal siding is on. So this whole wall here, just, you know, this is the original wall. So once we get this addition off of here, then you know, we're going to put windows and doors and stuff back on here, siding. There'll be a step here and a landing going down to some stairs into the yard, and that's going to be it. So I've got this all stripped out back here. Okay, and this wasn't too bad back here as far as rot and mold and mildew, but we do have, you know, we have this corner here where it's been leaking. You can see there we've got mold and mildew. You can see how the lumber there has got some dry rot in it. You can see there where the insulation has been stuffed in between the rafters here, and you know, so that just has stopped any possible airflow that could have come through there. You need to have space over the insulation for it to, you know, for it to get circulation. You know, there's evidence of water leakage along here. You can see this plate here is damaged. It's got some mildew. You know, that's nothing terrible. You could leave that. That's not a structural issue. That can be cleaned up with the you know, bleach solution and to kill the mold. But back here we actually have some pretty serious rot going on up in this corner here. Okay, so we've taken all the electrical stuff out of here. You know, there was a box down here. You know, there was a box and outlet switch. We've taken all that out now, so again, this inspector can see. We'll be taking all the insulation out. I just have no place to put it right now. I'm just leaving it in the walls where it's not necessary to take it out for work, but it's all gonna have to be out when the inspector comes back. So I'm down to this now. So this room here, taking this ceiling out of here, and so what we have here is 2 layers. So you can see there we've got this pink layer and then there's a white layer. All right, you can sort of see the edge of it there. So what they did at some point in time was, you know, put another layer on top. And what they did was, you know, between the layers of drywall, they put this 2mm poly here. And I think they did that because there was some leaks, and they thought that that's how they would stop the leaks, because you can see where there's evidence of water damage. Up here you can see it there. Okay, and so this is how they overcame their problem, was they just put some plastic in between the drywall. Yeah, obviously that's not a good thing to do. We do have vapor barrier in this room. I'm just, you know, cutting as I go here, but it was, you know, kind of the same thin plastic, not continuous, you know, just put together, packed together, pieces together. Up in here you can see we've got damage here, you know, where it's been leaking. Again, this is not structural. This could all be corrected if you wanted to keep this, but we're not keeping this. Up here though, we have some major issues. Okay, so you can see in there, you just look at the mold and the mildew up in there. That is beyond saving. Okay, look at that joist particularly. That's done, finished, no fixing that. You'd have to take that out and replace that to, you know, to fix this properly, or sister up, you know, beside it. Okay, interesting thing here. I'm just going to get on my ladder here and come up here and sort of show you what we're doing there, what we got going on. So, okay, so this is where, you know, the way they did this was they lagged this 2x6 onto the building. Okay, there you can see a lag bolt. And as I said previously, you can't do that. This all has to be self-supporting. It can't support on the wall. The way this is done, it's supporting on the wall. So at least in our area, you can't do it that way. And here's a good look at that. This is it looks like it's burnt, but it's not. It's just, that's just rot and mold. Okay. Now again, they didn't put any joist hangers on there. Notice that. Over in the other area there, they did. So up in there, you can see we've got some joist hangers up in there. Okay, for this to be done properly, you'd have to have joist hangers all the way along. Whenever you hang a joist off of a header joist like that, it has to be done with joists, hangers. All right, so this is the underside. This is OSB board. Okay, this is the underside of the roof deck. On top of this, we have the shingles. Okay, and I can feel this here. This is all wet. Okay, this is all wet. Again, this is where if you have proper ventilation, the air is circulating up here, it dries that out, and you don't have this buildup of water in here. So this is definitely how you do not do things. And up above here, you know, where that roof, this roof goes up and it meets the side of the mobile home. So this roof is just a little bit lower. It's been built down. It doesn't line up with the roof on the mobile home. So what happens is the water comes off the mobile home, drains over the wall and then out onto this roof here. And these always leak. I have never seen one yet that hasn't leaked. So if you have this shed roof, low slope, up against a building like this, they always leak. I have never seen one that hasn't leaked. And I've been doing this for over 40 years. This is a problem area that is reoccurring, and people just cannot get it right. Anyways, folks, that's going to wrap up this video. You know, we're just about done with the demolition in here. and then I have to move out to another area. I've got to kind of do the same thing in a workshop shed building at the back of the property. We got to get all the electrical out of that. I've got to get all the electrical out of the crawl space area underneath. I have to take all this soffit paneling off of here outside, and you can just see the mounds of garbage that I'm getting again here. But yeah, so the inspector, he didn't like seeing this up here, this electrical. We had 4 lights in this area here, 2 up here on the deck, and then there's another one over there, and then we had one on the outside over there. So I have to take all of this off. All the soffit material has to come off, so to expose the framing underneath and show him that there's no wiring up in there. We have to remove it. And then underneath this deck, we've got wiring underneath here and lights underneath there, and so I have to go in and have to get rid of all those lights too. So again, you know, here we had disconnected the main run, took the breaker out, and he wasn't happy with that, so he wants to see this stuff completely gone before he'll give us our silver label. So that's where we are, folks. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Alright, so I thought I was done with this video, but I'm just a little further along here, and I just have to show you this. So I've taken that first layer of drywall off of the ceiling, and I've taken all that plastic off. So now I'm ready to take this next layer of drywall off. But I just want to show you the extent of the leakage here. All of these dark spots is all water that's been leaking. Alright, so that's been leaking between the 2 layers of drywall. Well, so it starts above this layer of drywall actually. You know, there was that layer of plastic, and then that second layer of drywall that I've taken off. But you see all these spots, this is all water stains. We actually have up here, this is actually wet. Okay, so you know, this ceiling looked really good in here. You know, it didn't look bad at all. You know, it was not soft, there was no staining on it, but you start peeling away the layers and this is what you find. Alright, now I'm going to just show you something else here. So here I showed you this wire before, so now you can see this wire. I'm just going to tug on it. Alright, you can see how, you know, they just had this stuck up in here. You know, this wire was not protected at all. And now that I'm here, I can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there is another wire right in here. Okay, this again, just tucked in here. Alright, and it's going along there. I'm not sure where it goes. I'm going to have to trace that back. But, you know, that's not proper. They've got it held in there with little nails. You can see where it's just finishing nail there, and it's just hanging in there. There's no protection at all. If you were to nail molding or something in there, or even like these drywall screws went in there, you know, the chances of hitting something there are pretty good. So this wire, we know this wire goes down to this, goes down to, where does it go? It goes down into this box here. We've already pulled it up, so we just have to pull this out now and it'll come out. But you know, these are the things. A lot of people buy these homes and they think, oh well, you know, I'm going to get a home inspector and he's going to catch all these things. Well, you'd have to have a really good home inspector to catch all this stuff and protect you from, you know, buying a disaster like this, a problem. All right, that's it, folks. Bye.